Live from the Dr. Jerry Henderson Radio Complex, it's time for Card Guys. And now, here's your host, Anthony Schulte.
Good morning! Thank you, Michael, for the intro as always, and welcome to Card Guys Detroit Sports Talk, Season 3, Episode 25. Coming up today, the Lions take a risk and get the win against Green Bay, completing the season sweep and clinching a playoff spot. The Pistons stun the Knicks at the Garden, snapping a 16-game losing streak against New York. And we go over Week 14 in the NFL. I'm Anthony Schulte. Joining me as always is my man, Ryan Donnelly.
Hope you guys' week were good. Hope your finals are going great to those who do have finals this week. Michigan weather once again sucks.
Yeah.
How the heck is it almost 50 degrees today, and on Thursday it's going to be 24? That is, I'm gonna call it right now. I'm gonna get sick this week.
Yeah, a lot of people already
Everyone is dropping like flies for finals week on top of the weather change. So I'm going to call it prediction. I will be sick. I don't know when, but I will be.
Hopefully not for Wednesday's show.
I hope not, because I don't want to be sick for Wednesday's show.
Right. It's going to be a fun show.
Yeah.
Also, right next to me, Mr. Michael Rosenkranz.
Well, Ryan, if it makes you feel any better, I'm not feeling the greatest right now. As you could probably tell from my voice, I'm congested AF, as the kids would say. But we're here. It's finals week. And it's hard to believe that it's the final week of the semester.
That's crazy.
Already.
That's
but
insane.
We got this show and one more, so let's get it started.
Let's have a good one. Let's start with our 3 stars. Michael, how about you start us off today?
Alrighty, so my third star is going to go to Domantas Sabonis of the Los Angeles Kings. Los
Angeles Kings.
Sacramento Kings.
Yeah.
Wrong city in California. Off to a great start already, aren't we?
We're batting 1,000 today.
Exactly, we are batting 1,000. Sacramento Kings beat Utah Jazz 141-97. Sabonis had 19 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists for a double-double on the night. Not a bad showing from him. My second star is going to go to Braden Point of the Tampa Bay Lightning. 2 goals, 2 assists for his 4 points on 3 shots.
Oh, wow. That's a good game.
So he had a really, really solid game. He's always been very solid for the Lightning, and he shone brightly last night against Vancouver. My first star, everybody's favorite kicker, the masturbator himself. No pause on that. Jake Bates. Getting it the game-winning field goal against Green Bay, running out the clock.
Should have brought my hat.
It should have brought your hat. That's going to get clipped. That's going to get clipped, too.
My Jake Bates hat.
I probably shouldn't have said that, because that's going to get clipped.
Yeah, well.
34-31, Jake Bates gets the game winner. Lions have their kicker. It's always been Jake Bates, as long as he made that game.
You're the one that got to it first before
43.
everybody.
Yes, I was the one that got to it first.
I was too busy celebrating.
I was thinking about, should I say it or not? But I was just like, you know what? Why not? It's finals week.
Yeah, take it, yeah.
It's finals week. But Lions get a win over Green Bay. We'll talk about them in just a little bit. But Sabonis, Point, and Bates, those are my 3 stars.
Ryan.
All right, so if you guys don't know, I always do a negative star every Monday, so I'm renaming it to the Kirk Cousins negative star.
The Kirk Cousins honorary negative star.
Yes, it's starting this week from every Monday going forward until we stop doing this show. I'm going to point out a very bad performance because I love negativity. Yes, negativity. In the words of Roman Reigns, you have to be miserable in order to not be miserable.
Amen.
And I love being negative. My parents can testify to that. And the Kirk Cousins, and the first ever Kirk Cousins negative star award goes to Kirk Cousins, who last night...
Who else but
Kirk Cousins, who yesterday against the Vikings, 23 for 37, 344 yards, and 2 picks.
He
Garbage.
They've been on a 4-game losing streak, and I think during that span, or during like the last 3 games or last 2 games, something like that, he's thrown 0 touchdowns and 8 interceptions.
That's terrible.
Booty.
There's a reason why he is he has an award named after him, and it's not good. Anyways, my 3 stars, my third star, I'm giving to Malik Beasley, who on Saturday against the New York Knicks, in 26 minutes, 53% from the field, 70% from 3. He was very hot from 3 in the first half.
What a pickup he was, man.
Oh, my
what
gosh.
A pickup.
23 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 2 turnovers, but who cares? They got the very important win in the Garden. We'll talk about that later on. My second star I'm giving, shout out my dad, Tim Patrick. He's one of my favorites too. Finally!
TP17, baby.
What's that?
That's a TP17.
Finally getting a touchdown. Not only that, he got 2 on 6 receptions, 43 yards, and also 2 tugs. And my first star, I'm giving to a pair of wide receivers down in Minnesota, Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson. Jay Jetta's 7 receptions, 132 yards, 2 touchdowns, as long as being a 52. Won me in fantasy this week.
That was also a big meme of a touchdown, because if you saw the coverage or lack thereof, it was comical. The coverage was comical on that. I mean, that guy was lost in the sauce.
I think after that touchdown, he taught a bunch of old people how to do the gritty, too.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
It was bad. And then Jordan Addison, 8 receptions, 133 yards, and 3 tugs, as long as being 49 yards. The Vikings sadly killed it yesterday against the Atlanta Falcons, but we'll talk about that later in the picks. Those are my 3 stars.
And Tim Patrick, I've been a big fan of Tim Patrick this entire season. I have been wanting every single game we watch. I am begging for a Tim Patrick tud. And finally he gets one when none of us are watching together. Doesn't that just make sense?
By the way, that's our final regular season Lions game in Cobb 307, and we missed it.
Yeah, I was the only one. I was the lone soldier.
Oh,
I was at a Little Skies concert.
Ah, yes, Little Skies.
Not great.
Was that worth the price of admission?
H-E blank blank no.
Alrighty. All right, so I'll get through my 3 stars real quick. We are batting 1,000. This show stinks.
This is a bad episode so far. What a
All
terrible
right,
episode.
3rd star. We're going to go with Nikola Jokic, the Joker last night. He's the MVP. He's the best player in basketball. He's making an argument to be a top 10 player already. I'll say it, of all time. This guy is insane, and the fact that he doesn't care, this is his side job. This is not his main job. He doesn't like basketball the way other people may in the NBA. This is quite literally his away job. This is what he does when he just has some free time. He likes to ride horses instead. That's his main passion. And he just dropped last night against the hobbled Hawks 48 points, 14 rebounds, 8 assists in 35 minutes. On 17 of 29 shooting, 3 of 6 from 3, which includes a half-court heave that didn't even touch the rim, all net. Only 3 turnovers, and just an incredible performance from the Joker. I needed 2 more assists to win me my parlay. So, thanks.
What happened on Saturday for Jokic? He had a way better performance.
He did have
didn't he drop
lost.
like 56?
Yeah, but they lost.
They
lost to the Wizards, who were on a 16-game losing streak.
Oh, wow.
So
I will highlight the performance, though. He had 56 points, 16 rebounds, 8 assists, 22 of 38 shooting, 3 of 5 from the field, 5 turnovers, however, in a losing effort to the Washington Wizards. That's why I didn't highlight that performance, though, because he lost.
Gotcha.
My second star goes to Dan Campbell. The cojones on this man. Just what a call at the end of the game to go for it on 4th and 1 with David Montgomery getting the handoff and really sealing the game, not giving them any time, giving it to Jake Bates to knock it through. People are giving Dan Campbell crap for this. Mm-hmm. People are saying he's not a good coach. They're saying that Teddy Bruschi, who has he's been the 4th person on Sunday NFL Countdown for a decade. He says that Dan Campbell needs to grow up and start playing some big boy winning football.
Does he not realize we're 12-1?
Yeah, we're 12
seed
we're
in the
12-1,
NFL?
Brewski.
Yeah. So
I hate sports media except for us.
I mean, I love Rex Ryan. He was like, "Hey, Tedster, I completely disagree with you right here."
Call him out.
Yeah, it was a terrible take. I mean, you look on Twitter, even the trolls were like, "All right, this guy's an idiot." However, Dan Campbell gets my second star just for play calling and staying true.
Shout out Rex Ryan. He's always been on our side.
Yeah, he has.
Remember the Dallas game last year? he was like, that was such a terrible reffing play.
Yeah.
Jumped off sides.
Yeah. But yeah, Dan Campbell, I mean, you live by the sword, you die by the sword.
It's sword!
Sword! There's a W in sword!
It's sword!
Sword.
Okay, Anthony has beef with silent letters.
They're stupid. Why are they there?
The only one that I do agree with is pterodactyl.
Yes,
Why is there a P in pterodactyl?
Doesn't even make sense.
Pterodactyl. I do agree with pterodactyl, but everything else makes no sense.
Sword. There's a W.
Sword.
Sword. Anyways, you live by it, you die by it, and he lived by it and survived it. Another week, 12-1, a huge win against the Packers. If we would have lost that game, percentages go down significantly. They went up, and it's looking pretty good. We clinched a playoff spot. We'll talk about it in a little bit, though. My first star is somebody that makes me happy. He helps me sleep at night.
Can I guess?
He brings me such great joy every single time I watch him caress the rock on the court.
Can I guess who it is?
You may guess.
Is it Cade Parker Cunningham?
It is Cade Parker Cunningham, son of Keith and Carrie Cunningham, brother of Cannon Cunningham, and cousin of Ashton DeTrainer.
I hope he doesn't see this.
Nah, he won't. Cade Cunningham against the New York Knickerbockers in the Mecca, Madison Square Garden, on Saturday in a winning effort. Heavy underdogs in a winning effort. 29 points, 15 assists, that's a career high, 10 rebounds, 9 of 17 from the field, 5 of 8 from 3, and only 3 turnovers. Woo! My goodness.
Really good night from Cade.
Cade Cunningham, that's one of the best games of his career and a winning effort. This team is turning it around. We got to 10 wins. December
7th.
December 7th. Took till March 7th last season. We're at double digits now.
It took exactly 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Pistons are playing great ball. We'll talk about them a little bit later in the program. Let's get into the Detroit Lions, shall we? Because they won a very important game since the last time we were on the airwaves. Let's go over a few stats for you folks. Let me just go over here, NFL. Got it. All right. Detroit Lions. How about Jared Goff? 32 of 41, 283 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns, only 1 interception. You can live with it. You could live with that. You could live with an interception. Especially Jared Goff's been playing great football. Tim Patrick, as you've already mentioned, 43 yards, 2 tuds on 6 receptions. Great game from him. Montgomery, a touchdown, 84 yards, and Scout's honor.
Yes, Scout's honor.
David Montgomery going back and calling back to his Boy Scout days that has been heavily memed in the past weeks. How about J-Mo? 80 yards on 5 receptions. Solid production from him. Mm-hmm. I thought he'd get into the end zone. He didn't, but still, he put us in positions to score. So there you go, Jameson Williams. St. Brown, kind of a quiet day. 5 receptions, 53 yards, but he caught the ball when he needed to catch the ball. And Jake Bates, 2 for 2 from the field goal, 4 for 4 from extra point, and the game winner. Also, Jahmyr Gibbs had a receiving touchdown and 73 yards. So a good all-around performance from the Lions, but I feel like something we need to highlight here, especially the defense.
Yes.
What a gutsy performance. Look, 31 points doesn't really tell the tale because of how many times we gave them the ball in their own territory. The fourth and 1 where Gibby didn't get to the line and the interception set them up at like the 30-yard line. And yes, they're going to go score a touchdown from the 30 against our defense. But when we had the whole field behind us, the defense looked good for the most part. Given the circumstance, we had 18 people out, 18 players out.
18 people are out, and there are 13 of those were on the defense.
So on the you have so many guys out on the defense. You're bringing in Jamal Adams and Quan Alexander off the street. Aleem McNeil goes down in the first quarter, comes back in the second quarter, but is out for the second half. So you don't have Aleem McNeil for a majority of this game. Your run defense that's top in the league took a little bit of a hit when you don't have DJ Reader and Aleem McNeil down there in the middle. But Pat O'Connor, shout out Pat O'Connor. Mm-hmm. If it wasn't for Nikola Jokic being the best player in the NBA, you would have been my third star. Great game from Pat O'Connor. Great game from Jack Campbell. And just these guys all coming in here and being like, all right, We may be battered down right now. Aaron Glenn, hell of a job by Aaron Glenn.
Yes.
Seriously. He has taken this defense and put it on his back. I don't think he's leaving in the offseason because this defense healthy. Let's just go over it. Aiden Hutchinson.
What?
Zadarius Smith.
What?
Ali McNeil.
What?
DJ Reader.
What?
Marcus Davenport.
What?
Jack Campbell.
What?
Alex Anzalone.
What?
Kirby Joseph.
What?
Brian Branch.
What?
Terrion Arnold.
What?
Carlton Davis.
What?
Ennis Rakestraw.
What? Fonsu Melifonwu.
Fatu Malafanu when he's back from being injured.
What?
Derek Barnes.
What?
And that's just starting it because there are obviously more players that are contributing at a high level. Emmanuel Mosley will be healthy. I'm not going to say.
We got Mosley for one more year, correct?
Yeah, no, this is last year.
No, this is.
And then we have Amik Robertson, too.
Oh,
so
yeah.
that defense healthy with Aaron Glenn, I feel like that's going to be what keeps him from getting a head coaching job, at least after this season, because he's going to be like, all right, let me have 1 year with my defense fully healthy to at least start the season. What a defensive performance. Even though, yes, 31 points doesn't look too great, subtract 14 of those because they had 30 yards to play with. So, in our run defense was... it wasn't there because everybody is injured. So you kept them from scoring when you needed to. And this defense, I thought we were going to give up maybe 40 points, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be an absolute. It was a shootout, but I thought it was going to have to be a game-winning touchdown, not a field goal. And defense got the job done. We had 10 days starting on Thursday to get this group healthy, give this group some rest. This group needs this mini bye week more than any other team in the NFL. Mm-hmm. And now you have the Bills, who we'll talk about them later. The Bills are coming off a loss. They look very beatable. They don't look invincible anymore. Now, will they be playing with something to prove? Will they be playing with a chip on their shoulder? Yes. But they look beatable. You can beat them. Their run defense is that of Swiss cheese. It's not there. They don't have a run defense. Their pass defense, pretty decent. It's going to be a Lions run the ball, Bills throw the ball type of game. And it's going to be a fun one on Sunday. But, that Packers one was mighty fine, I will say.
Yes.
And we'll preview that Bills game on Wednesday for the Christmas extravaganza. By the way, I will be in attendance for that game as well.
You lucky duck.
Ha.
Nice.
Ha. I hope I get field access again.
You should.
Anyways, like you hit all the points pretty well. Great win by the Lions on Thursday. Much needed win. This division race is starting to get a little close. Getting a little close quarters. Vikings won yesterday. Pollywalked the Falcons. We'll talk about that later.
They have to lose at some point.
They need to. They have to. We'll take a look at their strength of schedule later in the picks. But, Goff played really nice. I think our running back, Sonic and Knuckles, played really nice as well. I think a player you forgot to highlight for both the Packers and the Lions is Josh Jacobs. 18 carries, 66 yards, and 3 tugs. If he wasn't playing the Lions, he'd probably be one of my 3 stars. But my rule is if someone has a good performance against one of my 4 Detroit sports teams, they are not one of my stars. And Josh Jacobs is played against the Lions, and he had a really good performance. And unfortunately,
Shout out.
Oh, I thought you said shut up.
No, I didn't say
that.
I said shout out.
Shout out Josh Jacobs. Regardless, I like heck of a player. I said on the show that Christian Watson is going to be an impact player. He was. He had
a couple big receptions.
He had 4 really big receptions that totaled for 114 yards. I think I was right with that one. Amon-Ra St. Brown was another player I said expect to have a big game. And he had 5 receptions for 43 yards. Not too bad, but didn't notch a touchdown. Not the end of the world, but I think he put up a solid performance on Thursday. I think this team is what we did with the players that were out. We did phenomenal.
Yeah,
especially this run defense. When you have one starter in the entire game on your run defense, that being Zadarius Smith, I think you did a fantastic job. Now, you have 10 days off, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
Got a very angry Buffalo team, which we'll preview again on Wednesday. You probably will get Ali McNeil back. DJ Reader might be back.
He will be back.
Levi O might be questionable, which is good.
Oh, I completely forgot about Pascal and Levi O.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Josh Pascal, and Levi might be back. So you get 3 or 4 guys back for Buffalo, which is huge.
Anzalone might be back. I don't know, though. He said he's going to be back soon, and that was a couple weeks ago. So.
I think if the earliest he could come back is the week before
Chicago?
the Vikings game. So, yes, the Bears.
Well, the Bears, that's 2 weeks.
No, sorry, Niners. My bad. I think the earliest you could see Alex Anzalone come back. Because all these players that are hurt are so antsy to come back. Speaking of Aiden Hutchinson, I saw a report yesterday per Underdog NFL that he is most likely, if we make it to the NFC Championship, he might be slated for a return.
Yeah,
that's
crazy. Wild.
Which, I mean, about a couple weeks ago,
if he's cleared and he's good to go, I don't mind it.
I mean,
I just don't want
I want him
more.
to be 100%. That's all I want. If you are 90%, if you're still limping by the NFC Championship, don't play. And if we make the Super Bowl and
they're not going to let him. If he's limping and he's still hurt, they're not going to let him play.
Don't play. But if you can run, if you could start doing rushing drills by the Super Bowl, let him play. We need him. Especially, we'll probably have Barnes back by this if we make. This is hypothetical, by the way. When we have Barnes back, we'll have Anzalone back. We'll have our entire run defense back. The only guy that we'll probably be missing is Marcus Davenport. But other than that, by playoffs, we'll have a healthy D-line. 13 injuries is pretty bad on the defense, but most of these guys are coming back in the near 2 months, which is great to hear.
Yeah.
Especially Aiden Hutchinson, which is amazing news. He was walking a few weeks ago, but great win by the Lions. We got Buffalo on Sunday, which I will be in attendance. We'll talk about more on that Wednesday. We'll get more guys back, hopefully. This 10 days is much needed, especially the Bills are a test. This is your final big test before playoffs. If you win, great. If not, it's not the end of the world. We have 4 games left. I could see us lose 1. I'm not doubting this team at all, but based off strength of schedule, I could see us lose 1 game, and that's either to...
I think this team needs to lose.
I feel so, too.
I don't think so.
I think, because what do you see from this team when they lose? Whenever they lose, they let it fester in their head, and then they come back better. They let it eat at them. They're like, they don't let the loss go. They're like, that loss was terrible. We need to come back and win. And then they'll rattle off 6 straight. I think if you go into the playoffs and you haven't lost since week 2, you haven't felt the adversity, you're very comfortable because, we just won all these games. The confidence might be there, but I feel like a loss is not the worst case scenario here. Now, multiple losses, that would suck.
Yes.
But if you lose 1 game in the next 4 weeks, there's no need for overreaction, and there's no need to be like, we lost, the season's... No, a loss could greatly benefit this team. We've seen losses benefit this team before.
Mm-hmm. And funny enough, Isaac and I, my roommate, shout out, friend of this program, Isaac Haffenden, we were talking about this. We keep saying the Lions are due for a loss. The Lions need a loss, but they just keep winning. Yeah. So every time we say, this is a loss, like I can admit, the Packers game after that golf pick, he can testify, I said 11-2.
You did.
I was a little upset, and then we won. So
always find a way. Find a way.
We say we're going to lose. We're going to lose this game. We're due for a loss, but we just keep rattling off wins. So yes, personally, I think this team is due for a loss, but anything can happen. Like we say this also any given Sunday. The Bills are, I think, the best team in the AFC. We are the best team in the NFC. This is a Super Bowl matchup.
I saw a meme and it said the Super Bowl we want. Bills Lions. And the Super Bowl they're going to give us Eagles Chiefs.
Which I'll be honest, I like the Eagles. But anyways, we always say we're due for a loss, but we don't lose. So I don't know. We could lose out, which is not happening. We could win out, which I could see happening. We could lose a couple games, which I could also see happening. But I don't know how this Lions future is looking. I don't want to say it looks bleak. It's looking up. Every week is better. We get better and better by the week. But we have such a hard schedule that I think we could rattle off a loss or maybe a loss or 2.
I'm not saying I want to lose.
No,
I'm not saying that I'm
absolutely
rooting to lose.
Not. I just think it's time for them to lose a game.
I'm not even saying it's time. I don't want to lose. I don't want the team to lose. I'm just saying if we hypothetically do lose, let's look at it glass half full rather than glass half empty. Because I can see this team, especially if the injuries don't really heal up the way we want them to. I think the Bills guys would be close. It could go either way. The Bills are a very good team, and if we don't get some of these guys that are injured back, especially on defense, they're going to carve us up.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I don't know right now against that pass defense, which is serviceable, I don't know if we could really go blow for blow because you can't run the ball the whole game and go blow for blow. You need to be able to throw the ball, and let's just see. Let's just see. I want us to win out. I really do. I want us to win the rest of the games. But I'm just saying, if we do lose, let's look at it glass half full here. Michael, real quick, and then we have to move on.
This is a big game coming up against the Bills on Sunday. And again, this is a game where I could theoretically see the Lions losing. Now, I want to pick your guys' brains about something. We already talked about Dan Campbell and his gutsy calls on fourth down.
Yeah.
You have not every single fan, but lots of fans are going, this is just too aggressive and it's going to come back to bite us. I mean, yes, I agree that it's aggressive, and at times I don't even like it. But again, this is how you got here. Dan Campbell's aggressive style and going forward with just trusting your team, trusting and knowing that they can get the job done going forward, and putting your faith in them to get the game sealing first down, basically, to run down the clock and for Jake Bates to kick a field goal. Mm-hmm. I mean, yes, to a point, there comes a time where Dan Campbell is very aggressive. But again, that's how you got here. And is he going to be aggressive against the Bills? Probably. This is a huge matchup against the Bills coming up. We'll preview it Wednesday. But if there was a game where the Lions were to hypothetically lose, I'd say this one.
Mm-hmm. And if we lose, again, it's not the end of the world.
It's not the end of the world.
You gotta
so
look
what
at
if
it
we
positive.
go 12? So what if we go 12-2? We still clinched a playoff spot.
We already are in the
We're already
playoffs.
locked in.
I think really the only stressful thing is the division if we do lose. Cause
we want the bye. We want the first seed. We want the bye. We want home field advantage.
Hold on, I'm
Yes.
going to take a look at the Vikings schedule.
Well, we're kind of previewing the Bills game right now, aren't we?
Yeah, a little
Pretty
bit.
much.
We pretty much are previewing
So
right now, we might not even preview it at Wednesday.
So taking a look at the Vikings' strength of schedule, they got the Bears on Monday, the Seahawks on the 22nd, the Packers on the 29th, and then the Lions on the 5th.
That's not easy.
So it's definitely not easy. The Bears didn't look great against the 49ers, which we'll talk about later in the picks. They got the Seahawks, who pollywopped the Cardinals yesterday. Got the Packers, who are top 3 team in the NFC. Same with the Lions. So there's a realistic world where the Vikings could lose out. Maybe. I don't know. I could see that they could definitely win against the Bears.
I think that's their last one.
I think I don't know. I think they're definitely beating the Bears next week on Monday Night Football. They might edge out a win against the Seahawks. That might be a gritty win. I think they'll lose to the Packers. I think they'll lose to the Lions.
Well, let's look at their recent games that they've won. Let's take a look at these. Barely beat the Jets. Well, let's start here. They blew up the Texans, but the Texans aren't looking like that great right now. The Texans they're off their bye right now, but they're not the team we thought they were coming into the year.
Exactly. Sophomore slump from C.J. Stroud.
They barely beat the Packers. They barely beat the Jets. I'm going to say that because they only won by less than a touchdown. They lost to the Lions. Mm-hmm. They lost to the Rams. They beat the Colts. I'll say they beat the Colts there. That was a pretty solid win. They barely beat the Jaguars, only scoring 12 points on that defense. They beat the Titans by 10, but that did not look convincing at all. They barely beat the Bears. They barely beat the Cardinals. And yes, they blew out the Falcons.
I can consider that their
but
only
the Falcons are on a
win of the
4
year.
games. They're on a 4-game stretch. They're on a 4-game losing streak right now, and they're not looking good. That defense is looking suspect. The offense just doesn't look like it's the same anymore. That team does not look like the same team that was 6-3. If there was that 6-3 team and they were 6-3 and they did that to the Falcons, okay, that's one thing. This team, that Falcons team is just not good right now. They're just not good right now. So I don't know how to think about this Vikings team because they're good. I'm not going to say they're not good.
Team.
They're a good team, but I feel like I don't want to say they're a fake team right now. But this last stretch here, okay, beat the Bears, beat the Seahawks, beat one of the Packers and Vikings, and I'll be like,
the
all right.
Vikings beat the Vikings?
I meant Packers or Lions.
Lions.
I meant Lions. Win three of your next 4. Only lose one more game this season, and you know what? I'll be like, all right, you're one of the best teams in the NFC. But we need to see it. Beat the Packers, beat the Lions, and beat the Seahawks. Seahawks are starting to look really good again. They're starting to win these games that they need to win. They might come away with their division.
They might.
Mm-hmm. So that's that. The Lions, we kind of just did our Bills preview right then and there. But the Lions, they do play the Bills next Sunday. It's one of the bigger games of the year.
It's the final big test before the playoffs.
I feel like just an NFL in general, it's one of the games, one of the marquee games.
And here's the big thing. You want to go play in the playoffs, you want to make it far, these are the kind of teams you're going to have to play.
Right.
Yep, exactly. And even if we lose this game, it's a good little taste of what these playoff teams can be. If you lose this game, you go to the film, you take what you did right, take what you did wrong, and you go into the playoffs better from it. That's a way to look at it if we lose. I think the Lions are going to win, though, however. I really do, especially if these injuries are looking fine and we're coming off these 10 days looking good. All right, coming up after this break, we have Detroit Pistons. They're looking good right now, and they have a little bit of breathing room in the schedule. We'll discuss it coming up. And we have our Week 14 NFL recap. You're watching Card Guys Detroit Sports Talk. We'll be right back after this.
Sports cards, signed jerseys, signed helmets, and more. Miller's Sports Cards and Collectibles is your one-stop shop for all things the hobby. Make sure to check them out down Mission Street in Mount Pleasant, right past Meyer. Miller's Sports Cards and Collectibles. Card Guys, Detroit Sports Talk. Join Michael Rosenkranz,
Sports take precedence over academics.
I agree, but
Ryan Donnelly,
Corbin Burns, who is their big-ticket J13 item. Scooble is with us. Scooble's our big-ticket
Did
J1.
you just call Tarek Scooble James?
and Anthony Schulte.
I have an issue.
You have.
There is no break. It's a constant grind. It's an unbreakable cycle.
Yeah, it's...
As they navigate through the Detroit sports landscape. Live Mondays and Wednesdays at 7:30 a.m. on 101.1 The Beat in Mount Pleasant and at 11 a.m. on YouTube. Card Guys, Detroit Sports Talk.
Welcome back, Card Guys, Detroit Sports Talk. Ryan Donnelly, Michael Rosenkranz, and Anthony Schulte here with you on I'm going to say a Victory Monday still because the Lions did win their last played game.
The Pistons also win, too.
And the Pistons are victorious.
Detroit basketball!
Nice.
Very nice.
All right,
Very nice.
So the Detroit Pistons, what a win against the Knicks on the road in the Garden. 120-111, and it was a convincing win. Pistons had control the whole game. They didn't lose their control. Cade Cunningham really controlling the game. Malik Beasley, as we previewed, Malik Beasley had a great game. Jaden Ivey kind of struggling from the field, but still contributed 4 points. I think it was 14 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds, something around there.
He had 16.
16 points. Pardon my my ignorance when it comes to Jaden Ivey's stats. Jalen Duren. I feel like this is a topic of discussion.
Terrible.
Because Jalen Duren has not really been great the past month. His defense has been poor. He's looked lazy. He's been in foul trouble. It just seems like, he's 21, right? He's very young, and he's in his third year. 21-year-old in their third year, you don't, or is it his fourth year?
It's his third.
This would be his third.
Third year. So he's a 21-year-old in his third year. Very young. One of the youngest players in the league still. Or for relative to where he was drafted. You want to see more from him right now. You want to see more development. You want to see a better Jalen Duren. You want to see him better in the paint defensively. That's one thing that we said he needed to work on over the offseason. It's looked worse. You want to, even though he's blocking shots, but that doesn't tell the tale when it comes to defense. He's not scoring the ball at a high clip that you'd want. He's not rebounding the ball that well. Only had 3 rebounds in that win against the Knicks. You know who's looked like a better player?
Isaiah Stewart.
Beef stew.
And, JB was talking about how, we want to make some changes to the starting lineup. Well, let me give you some changes right here, JB. Malik Beasley, how about we start him? Why are we starting Tim Hardaway Jr.? Start Malik Beasley. He's averaging 16 points on 40% three-point shooting. Start Malik Beasley. You need to start him. You need him on the floor with the starters. He complements Cade so well. And you need to start Isaiah Stewart. Look, he's not tall. He's 6'9", but he's a big 6'9". And I think Isaiah Stewart, he shows more hustle. He is more mature on the defensive end of the floor. He is a better rebounder. He is a better paint scorer. And he is a better three-point shooter. He is better on all facets of the game except for height. And even then, I think one thing Trajan needs to do before the trade deadline is get a 7-footer. I don't care who it is. You need a body that is 7 foot tall on this team. Your tallest player can't be a generous 6'10" Jalen Duren. It can't be. You need a tall guy. One guy I do like is Nikola Vucevic. He is playing at an all-star level again this year, and he's on the trade market. Another guy like Mo Bamba. He is a 7'1" guy on the Sixers. And he's
on the Clippers this year.
Oh, he's on the Clippers this year?
He's on the Sixers last year.
I'm a casual. I'm washed. I don't know
you
NBA
are.
basketball.
I'm just kidding.
Mo Bamba. I like Mo Bamba. I feel like he'll be relatively affordable, maybe a second-round pick. Maybe a young player like Alondas Williams to throw in there, two-way guy. You need something like that, and you need to make that move quick because say you lose Duren or Stewart. Okay, you got B-Ball Paul, right? He's 6'8". Who else do you have other than that? Rostered or in the G League? Nobody. Nobody you can bring up and give you serviceable minutes. That's above the 7 foot. So I think, you can hang B-Ball Paul as a target or as a piece on the trade market. You'd be like, hey, we got Paul Reed right here, serviceable guy, winning experience, played on the Sixers. You have some toys to play with here on the trade market if you're Trajan, and you need to start making some moves and seeing what you can do on the trade market. I think Vucevic is relatively affordable. What you give them maybe a first round pick and Ron Holland maybe. I don't know who you could throw on because
that's the thing when you start discussing trades is like who do you give up?
Right, and I don't want to say you give up Duren for a 30-year-old aging center, but in that same token, maybe you give up Stewart.
No.
Maybe I don't want to. I think Stewart's very vital to this team. I think he is one of the heartbeats of this team, and you should not trade him. You should keep him. He should be a Piston for life. He identifies with this team and the culture that we have. He is Detroit Pistons basketball. I don't think you get rid of him, but maybe they want B-Ball Paul, a first round pick and a second round pick. Do you give that up for Vucevic?
I would.
I would too.
Here's my stance on Jalen Duren. I think there are 2 words I could describe for Jalen Duren right now, and that's inefficient. When you take a look at his stats, and I just had him pulled up. I don't know why I just deleted them. Okay, here we go. Inefficient. New York, okay, 12 points, 3 rebounds. That's not 3 rebounds for a center is terrible in my eyes. 2 steals, okay. Boston, 5-5, and then on.
I think he shot 20% in that game as well.
He shot 20%.
Yep.
And then cup game against the Bucks, 11-6 on 83% field goal percentage, not too bad. And then let's go back a couple games against Indiana on the 29th, 14-12 on 62% field goal percentage. A good player always make sure they play the same way every game. Jalen Duren, one game, he'll give you 15 points, 8 rebounds on like 70 to 80% field goal percentage and has decent defensive efficiency. And then there's other games, which is about 70% of
Celtics game.
Celtics
fans were saying that Jalen Duren's the worst player they've ever seen.
Wow.
The Celtics.
Maybe I should rename the Kirk Cousins negative star award to the Jalen Duren negative. Screw it. The Kirk Cousins negative star award now is going to be either the Tim Hardaway Jr. negative star or the Jalen Duren, negative star award.
There's an app I'm on, Reel, and it's like a social media meets ESPN box score type of app. I love the app. And you can leave comments and stuff. And usually it's just degenerate gamblers asking players for rebounds or assists or points and assists, whatever. But they were saying in our channel, in the Pistons Celtics channel, they're like, look, we barely watch the Pistons because, we're Celtics fans, but this performance from Jalen Duren is terrible. Yeah. He is one of the laziest and most stagnant players. And, I mean, look at how we played against the Celtics. That was terrible. Yeah. If Duren would have played better, we would have had a much better chance winning that game. And you just look at I keep thinking back to this. Greg Monroe is a better player. He was a better player.
Andre Drummond was a better player.
Andre, you can't even compare Andre.
No.
Look at Andre Drummond had 33 points, 24 rebounds. I think it was like 5 or 6 blocks, 4 assists, and barely missed a shot the day after he was snubbed from the All-Star game back a couple years ago. You can't compare Andre Drummond to Jalen Duren.
Which kind of brings me to my second word for Jalen Duren, which is unmotivated.
Yeah,
I think his performances have been lackluster, I will say, and I do agree. His perimeter defense is garbage. I'm trying to find a better word without getting us in trouble, but garbage. Terrible perimeter defense. He's lazy. He doesn't run back on defense. When you run back on defense, I don't want to do a coach's corner. I don't want to get up. My legs hurt. But when you run back, when you get to half court, your back should be turned, and you should be backpedaling to your spot on defense. He doesn't do that. And for only missing like 3 Pistons games this year, I've watched a majority of Pistons basketball this year and last year. Duren does not do that at all. And JB has unlocked the best out of most of these players. Stewart, Beasley, Cade, Ivy, all these players. Sasser. He has unlocked the best.
Sasser needs to play more minutes.
Sasser does need to play more minutes.
I'm sorry, he's earned it. He needs to play more.
I think he's fixed a lot of the. I don't want to say fixed, but he's changed a lot of these players because he's given them different roles.
He's ironed out the roster.
Yeah. Except for Jalen Duren and Tim Hardaway.
It's such a curious case because I love Jalen Duren. I really love Jalen Duren.
I love Jalen Duren.
He has all the potential in the world. He has the size. He has the strength. He has the skills. He's shown us. And he's so young. There's so much untapped potential there. But I would be remiss to not bring up his struggles. You have to, if you're looking at this team from just an even perspective, you need to, if Cade was struggling the way Duren is struggling, again, different games, different ways, but if Cade was struggling, I'd call it out. If Ivy was struggling, I'd call it out. Jalen Duren, now he's struggling, right? We're seeing him get to maybe that 12 or 14-point ratio or mark, but the assists to rebounds, he only has 3 rebounds, right? You need to be rebounding the ball. You need to be averaging that double-double. We need that. You need that, or around it, maybe that 9-rebound mark, 8-rebound mark. You need to get there every night. That's what we need. And, we've been seeing a rough stretch from Jalen Duren. It sucks to see. I'm still high on the kid. I still like the kid. He still has a lot of potential. I'm not saying I don't like Jalen Duren. I'm just saying we need to call it for what it is, and he's not been playing good basketball recently.
No, he hasn't. And much like you guys, I like Jalen Duren. I think that's the problem, though, because he's so young, and yes, he already has 3 years of experience in the NBA, but, again, he's only 21.
Yeah.
He needs a lot more time to develop.
He does.
He needs a lot more time to develop. And on his good days, he can get that double-double mark. He's a great scorer. He's a heck of a rebounder when he can, because, he's got the height. He's got the height. Now, would I be more intrigued with the 7-footer? More than likely, yes.
Yeah.
Now, it'll be interesting to see what the Pistons will do in terms of the trade deadline stuff, because I think that will really test this front office staff, JB, Trajan Langdon. Are you ready to take the next step forward?
And you need
are
a 7-footer.
Already taking strides forward, but it's now down to, are you ready to take that extra big leap needed to boost this team's morale even further with that 7-footer?
You need a 7-footer, and you need a veteran point guard for the bench.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Look, I love Sasser. You need a veteran in that point guard's room. You do. Cade is a veteran, I'd say. Cade's a veteran, but you need somebody that's been here for a while. A 10-plus year player. A player I really like on the trade market right now, Dennis Schroeder. I really like that name for this team. I feel like he'll be relatively cheap to get. You might have to give up Sasser, but in the same token, it's like, imagine this team with Dennis Schroeder playmaking off the bench.
Yeah.
And you can still keep Cade and Ivy off the ball. You could just have Dennis Schroeder take care of, for the majority of the game, take care of that point guard position.
And he's a 20-point per game scorer.
He is. He's
from Brooklyn.
He obviously his averages would drop a little bit, coming off the bench here, but.
Right. But he's been in the contention to be a Sixth Man of the Year in the past, so he can definitely fit that role of backup point guard very well.
Or you could even start him and move Cade to you could just play positionless basketball 1 through 3, Schroeder, Ivy, Cade. It's possible, but the Knicks.
I think when it comes to a center, I like Vucevic. I would not give up Duren at all. I think having Duren as a backup 4 would be nice. But I would give up Paul Reed, Wendell Moore, and a second-round pick for him.
Oh, Wendell Moore. I forgot that. Yeah,
Wendell Moore, Paul Reed,
yeah.
And either a first or a second-round pick or Nikola Vucevic. And I'm all ears for it. Have him start, be that 7-foot shooting big man that you need, and then have Duren move to the backup 4 and pairing with Stewart. I love it.
Michael, anything about the Knicks game before we move on to picks?
Really solid game against the Knicks. That first quarter, really, really good basketball being played. This is a much different Pistons team. Yes, they did have a 3-game skid before this game, so I mean, NBA, they're going to win some. It's tough to win in the NBA. They're going to win some games. I didn't think it'd be against the Knicks. Knicks are a great team. And playing at the Madison Square Garden, where the Pistons have historically struggled, that was shocking.
Yeah, and just taking a look at really quickly before we move on to picks. The Pistons finally have some breathing room in the schedule. They played last Wednesday. They played Saturday. They don't play till Thursday. So they have Saturday to Thursday off.
So we don't got to worry about the Pistons for finals.
No, we don't.
Great.
And then we don't play till Monday after Thursday, and then we don't play till that Thursday again against the Jazz. So there's a good little space in the schedule. Finally, some breathing room for a team that needs it and has had a really, really rough schedule. And it was good to rattle off a win right there.
And then after Thursday the 19th, you have, well, never mind. I was going to say you have 3 nights off, but you have a night off.
Yeah. But with the strength of the schedule coming up, it was really nice to get a win against a good team because I thought we weren't going to win till the 19th. So, hey, I'll take it.
Taking a look at the future, for those who don't know, the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games until Charlotte is Boston, Miami, Utah, Phoenix, LA, Sacramento, and Denver, and Orlando. And then you got all
beatable.
Charlotte, and then you got Minnie, and then you got the Portland Trailblazers.
This Pistons team can win any game.
The Trailblazers are the most irrelevant team in the NFL, in the NBA.
The Pistons can win any game against any team they play. It's tough that they have to play so many really good teams all together. But
how about Cade getting his 5th triple-double of the season?
Yeah, first
Cade
Piston to have a triple-double in Madison Square Garden.
Yes, I remember seeing that stat, and I'm just like, holy smokes.
Yeah, really, really good game from Cade. Really good game all around from the Pistons against the Knicks. But we need to move on to the picks really quickly.
Yes.
We need to go through the picks.
So I went 6-6 this week.
I went 7-5.
7-5.
So we all picked Lions against the Packers. Already talked about that game. How about the Eagles and Panthers? Look, Panthers may be 3-10, but they've been playing some pretty good football. Bryce Young looks like a really, really good quarterback prospect. He's starting to come into his own. He needed to get benched. Who would have thought that benching would really open up his career? But the Panthers are competing every game. They're giving these good teams a run for their money. The Chiefs, the Eagles. Who did they play last week?
The Bucks.
The Bucks. And they almost beat them. So the Eagles, they pull out the win. Saquon Barkley is now has the all-time best rushing season in Eagles history, passing LaShawn Shady McCoy. Grew up watching LaShawn McCoy, so that's crazy.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Shout out Dave Canellis, head coach of the Carolina Panthers. He fixed Baker back in Tampa last year, and he's figuring out Bryce Young.
Yeah.
So good. It's very good to see. I'm really happy for Bryce Young and the Panthers. I also picked the ESGSEL Eagles.
Yes. And then we have the Dolphins and Joe. You picked Eagles, right?
Yes.
Okay. Jets and Dolphins. Game that comes down to overtime, and the Dolphins barely squeak past the Jets.
Can we talk about Jonnu Smith?
I don't want to talk about John.
Fair enough.
Let's just say he had 0 points. I'm going up against him in fantasy. He got 14. And in fantasy, I need Joe Burrow to score 16 points, and I clinch first place and 10 wins. If he gets less than 16, I am in second place for the playoffs. And
I'm in
Big
first.
implications tonight in fantasy.
There are. But the Dolphins squeak away a win, 32-26. I had the Dolphins.
Dolphins.
Shout out Jimmy Buffett.
Fins up.
Changes in latitudes, changes in attitudes. Go Dolphins.
Browns and Steelers. Steelers, they have looks like a convincing win, but the offense looked a little, up in the air in the first half.
Yeah, a little bit.
But Russ gets it done once again. And then this might have been this next game. Oh, we all picked the Steelers, right?
Yes.
Chef Russ is cooking.
This next game might be the worst NFL game in years.
That might be.
The Jaguars beat the Titans, to everybody's surprise, 10-6, and it was 6-3 for a majority of the game. It was 6-3, 3 field goals for most of the game.
If you're a superstar in the Jacksonville Jaguars, I'd request a trade.
They don't have any superstars.
Josh Hines Allen,
I guess so.
kind
yeah.
of.
Yeah.
But I did pick the Jackson. I didn't pick. I picked the Titans. Fire Doug Peterson. I don't care that
You
you
did
won.
not pick the Titans, my friend.
Yes, I did.
No, you didn't. Well, see right there, it says that you highlighted the Titans, and that is red. That means you picked the Titans and they lost.
Well, I picked the Titans.
Oh, I thought you said you picked the Jaguars.
No, I picked the Titan. What? We haven't pulled this excuse yet. 8:16 a.m.
Ah, boy. It was a
I picked the
long
Titans.
weekend. It was a long night.
It was
last night.
very long.
The Chiefs game. We'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, Titans. I picked the Titans as well, and they lost. Speaking of picking a team and losing, Ryan.
Ladies and gentlemen, $9 episode of the week. I picked the Atlanta Falcons.
I tagged along, and I picked the Falcons.
Kirk Cousins. You have an award named after you for a reason. You are the worst. You are terrible. You start Michael Penix based off 0 touchdowns and 8 picks. Why are you still the starter? Penix should be the starter.
Well, he's still the starter because he got signed for a lot of cash.
That Penix pick is making more sense by the minute.
It is.
And the Vikings, once again, got a huge win. 11-2 on the year. Luckily, the final Ryan Donnelly upset of the week will be on Wednesday, so I'm not going to retire it fully. So, yeah, I'm pretty unfortunate.
Yeah. You picked the Vikings.
I did.
So
You lucky duck.
all right, the Saints and the Giants. The Saints won one of the most uneventful and irrelevant games in the season so far.
Who cares?
Yeah,
I picked the Saints.
Yeah.
Saints.
Bucks and Raiders in a turnover fest. The Buccaneers get a win, 28-13. The Raiders, that's
Terrible.
purgatory right now.
yeah.
Yeah. Seahawks and Cardinals. Seahawks take down the Cardinals 30-18.
I picked the Cardinals.
I picked the Cardinals.
And I switched to the Seahawks
And
last
I
second.
regret my decision to pick the Cardinals.
Yep. I put the Seahawks
Man.
on my parlay yesterday, and I forgot to switch this pick.
I switched it at 9 a.m. I was like, you know what? The Seahawks are winning. And Seahawks are looking like they're going to run away with that division.
Did you guys know that Kyler Murray does YouTube videos?
He plays Call of Duty.
He does YouTube videos. He does vlogs. He does game day
Really?
vlogs. I had no idea.
Well, he should
until-
focus more on the game plan than vlogging.
Agreed. Oh, that was
True.
cool.
All right, now we have one of the best games of the season.
Yep.
A shootout in Los Angeles. The Rams upsetting the Bills 44-42. 7% of America said the Rams would win, and that's all the Rams fans in the world. 44-42. Incredible game. Puka, 42 points for me. Thank you, Puka.
Yeah.
Appreciate you,
Puka
boss.
went off.
Great game from Puka. Matthew Stafford slinging that thing around. Cooper Kupp, couple great catches. Just great. Kyron Williams had a great game. Josh Allen had a heck of a performance.
MVP.
Yeah.
Three tuds and three rushing tuds, 3 passing tuds. The best fantasy game in the NFL since 1950.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, so the best fantasy game of all time. For Josh Allen, we all picked the Bills.
Yes.
I picked the Buffalo Bills.
And then I can admit when I'm wrong, okay? I'm a man of integrity, and I can admit when I'm wrong, and I can admit it. I was wrong about the Bears. I thought that the talent would flourish under new leadership, and I thought a new coach would breathe life into that locker room, and all of that talent on that team would be able to flourish towards the end of the season, kind of like last season. I have never been more wrong in my life. The Bears look like a sorry piece of garbage. That talent, there's no saving it. The Bears might lose out. That was one of the most... they let a third-string running back go so crazy against them that he got injured too. And now the 49ers are going to be looking for LaShawn McCoy to come out of retirement. Or Le'Veon Bell, maybe. Maybe Dalvin Cook gets signed.
That's wild.
49ers absolutely demolished the Bears. I was wrong. I was wrong.
I picked the Bears. I mean, I wanted to believe you, man. I wanted to believe that
I steered you guys in the wrong direction, and I apologize.
The new coach would be a great change, a needed change for the Chicago team, but don't count out the 49ers. They're still a really, really good team, but I mean, you have both
They're too
Christian
far behind
McCaffrey
in their division.
and Jordan Mason on IR, and now their third-string running back is injured too.
Yeah.
I also picked the Bears. I jumped on y'all's bandwagon. I shouldn't have. All right, let's get into this next game, because I have a lot to say about this game as well.
I picked the Los Angeles Chargers as my upset.
Right. I got a trivia question for the both of you.
What?
Because
I
Isaac,
picked the Chargers as well.
I also picked Jim Harbaugh.
Hold on. Every single week, the Kansas City Chiefs find a new way to pull a game out of their rear end. We'll keep this PG. How? Bro, he should have missed. By the way, I went up against the Kansas City kicker in fantasy, 16 points on my dome. I can't believe that should have missed. But no, it's going to doink right through to win the division. Goodness gracious,
Boys,
man.
I have a trivia question for both of you, because Isaac and I were talking about this last night.
What you got?
We talk about statement wins in the NFL. How many... now, I consider a statement win more than 2 tugs. How many statement wins have the Chiefs had this year? They're 12-1. How many statement wins?
Let's go through them.
1. And it was against the Saints.
That's not a statement win. Nope.
The Lions...
How is that a statement win?
2 touchdowns.
No, like I'd say it's 2 touchdowns against a formidable foe.
I think a statement win against any team.
Okay, they beat the Ravens, but that was by literally a centimeter.
Yes.
So I wouldn't consider that a statement win because they should have lost. They beat the Bengals by 1.
Oh.
They beat the Falcons, and they shouldn't have beat the Falcons. That was a missed calls.
Missed call.
They beat the Chargers by 7.
Yeah.
They beat the Saints,
By
but
2.
that was after the Saints kind of fell back down to
That's
earth.
the statement win I was talking about.
I wouldn't say it's a statement
That's a
win.
statement win in my eyes.
They beat the 49ers, but the 49ers look like a shell of their former selves.
Mm-hmm.
Barely beat the Raiders. Shouldn't have beat they barely beat the Buccaneers. They beat them in overtime because the Buccaneers were dumb. Barely beat the Broncos. Shouldn't have beat the Broncos.
They got lucky on that blocked field goal.
They got lucky on a blocked field goal.
They lost to the Bills.
Lost to the Bills. Their first real competition of the season.
Should have lost to the Panthers.
Should have lost to the Panthers. Yep. Should have lost to the Raiders. Should have lost to the Chargers.
So realistically, okay, the Lions, in my eyes, no matter what, no matter if it's a good team or a bad team, a statement win is a win by 2 touchdowns. The Chiefs have only had 1. The Lions have had multiple.
Well, see, this is also the thing with the Chiefs too, and we'll hit this really quickly. They're a good team. I'm not going to say they're not a good team.
They're really
good teams find ways to win.
Top 5 defense in the NFL.
Good teams find ways to win. They're a good team. They're finding ways to win, even if they shouldn't win. They were outplayed, or it's by luck. Good teams find ways to win, and they are. I'll give them credit where it's due. They're winning games. They're a good team. They're not best in the AFC.
No.
That was decided on November 17th at 4:25 on CBS.
Yes.
The Bills are the best team in the AFC.
They are.
However, the Chiefs are still they're still, I'd say they're number 2. Ravens and Chiefs are a toss-up. I'd say the Chiefs just because they have the better record and they've shown more of a consistent winning tendency this season. Yeah. However, once they get to the playoffs, you can never count out Patrick Mahomes. You can never count out the Chiefs and their relationship with the referees. And they're going to make it to the AFC Championship against the Bills. I feel like the Bills are finally going to pull that out. But the Chiefs have been winning games they should be losing. That could be viewed as both good and bad. They won again. Man.
Listen,
Man.
the Chiefs have had one statement win. Meanwhile, the Lions have had, let's count really quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 statement wins. We are the best team in the NFL. And
I agree.
the NFL won't stop shoving the Chiefs down our throats. It's annoying. I'll close out with this. Are the Chiefs the best team in the NFL? I don't think so. No. I think if we're talking top 3 teams in the NFL, I think it's Lions, Eagles, Bills.
Yeah, Lions, Eagles, Bills.
Bills are the best team in the NFL and the AFC, and like you guys said, that was decided on CBS a couple weeks ago. The Chiefs have a top 5 defense in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes is at a slump, but he's figured it out the past couple of weeks.
That offensive line looks shaky.
That offensive line, I will say they had a good pancake yesterday. I don't remember what the play was. I think it was like towards the end of the fourth quarter, he had a throw right to Xavier Worthy, but I think it was number 34 for the Chiefs, pancaked a guy. It was cool. Anyways, the Chiefs are not the best team in the AFC, but somehow good teams find ways to win. They shouldn't be 12-1. They should have at least 6 or 7 losses.
Listen,
right now.
it's
ridiculous.
They have 2 games coming up in the next 3 games. 3 games coming up in the next 4 weeks. Texans, Chiefs. That is going to be a barn burner. Yeah, and I feel like the Texans can pull out a win there. On Christmas, Chiefs and Steelers.
Why are they getting another primetime?
Well, Chiefs-Steelers. I mean, that's going to be a good game.
That's going to be a good game.
It will be.
That's honestly, that's going to be really, really big for playoffs as well. But that is going to be another big test for the Chiefs. And I honestly think this last game of the season here, Chiefs-Broncos. The Broncos are going to be playing for a playoff spot, most likely. They're going to be playing for a wild card spot. The Broncos are playing with everything to lose, and the Chiefs aren't. I feel like they might lose that game, especially trying to rest for the playoffs. You never know.
You never know.
You never know. But the Chiefs, they finally find a way to win again. And the Bengals and Cowboys tonight.
The Chiefs only have one more primetime game after this week.
They do. Bengals and Cowboys tonight. I have the Bengals.
I have the Bengals.
The Bengals to win tonight. All right, that's all we have for today's show. Thank you for tuning in to Card Guys Season 3, Episode 25 on 101.1 The Beat and YouTube. Stay tuned for Wednesday's season finale, Christmas extravaganza,
Been looking forward to
as
this
we make our Bowl Mania picks. We talk NBA Cup. We're going to talk some NBA Cup, which that's coming up next week. And Ryan is producing a very meaty segment for you all, and I cannot wait.
I cannot wait to make it.
Yes. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of Christmas fun.
Also talking, week 15 in the NFL, too?
Yes, week 15 in the NFL.
Yes.
A lot to cover. It's going to be a nice, long show for you guys on Wednesday. But for my good buddies, Ryan Donnelly and Michael Rosenkranz, I'm Anthony Schulte saying... so long, everybody.
Love you, Mom and Dad. See you on Thursday. Good luck with finals, everybody.
Shout out, Mom and Dad.